Rock stars, Eric Andres, your Guitar Sage 2018. Ah! We're going to have a blast today. Today we're going to be talking about the 4 steps to achieving your guitar goals in 2018. And in fact, you can actually take any of these principles, all these steps, and apply them towards any goals. This isn't rocket science. This is methodical thinking that's going to get you from A to Z, okay? 4 steps, super easy stuff. You can do this. We're going to have a blast. We're also going to do a Q&A, and we're probably going to give some stuff away as well for those folks that share this video, okay? So I love it when you guys like it. I love it more when you share it, because when you share it, that means you're sharing, and the world needs more sharing, right? So share. All right, my friends, here we go. We're on YouTube and we're on Facebook today, and actually we're on Instagram as well. Now, for those folks that want to have your questions answered, listen to me. For folks on Instagram, you need to go to Facebook or to YouTube if you want me to answer your questions, because I've got so many screens in front of me right now, I can't have one more screen for Instagram. And actually, I'd have to look real tiny at my screen here. So if you're on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube, here we go, my friends. And wow, my camera's all jacked up here, so here we go. Sorry about that. We were dancing in the studio earlier, so that's what happened. All right, so here we go. 4 steps to achieving your guitar goals in 2018. I'm really excited about 2018, and lots of goals. We're gonna have some fun here. And so I thought that what I would do is bring some of my inspiration to you guys in regards to goals, because without goals, you don't really have anything. And when I say you don't have anything, okay? You can't say, I'm gonna go to the moon, or you can't get to the moon if you don't project your way to the moon, or at least say, that'd be really cool to get to the moon. Or if you're getting ready to get in your car and you're going to do a road trip, it would be hard to get wherever you're going to get without going, I'd really like to go to the Grand Canyon, right? That'd be difficult. You need a map, right? But first thing you need that inspiration. I want to see that giant hole in the world, in the earth. I want to see this giant, chasm, if you will. You need to be inspired by something. That's the number one thing. Is we've got to be inspired. We got to have a compelling vision. We have to have something that's burning within us. Do you have that? Chances are you do. Now, I know a lot of folks sometimes, even myself sometimes, I have to ask myself, what do you want? Because we get conditioned from different things in the world to not ask this question. And you have to ask this question to yourself. Most of you know this. You wouldn't be watching this right now if you didn't have this. But you probably have some sort of burning desire in you to be better at something on the guitar. Whether it's finger picking. I saw somebody with a comment earlier about finger picking. Maybe it's blues guitar. Maybe it's you want to be a rock star. Maybe you want to be the next best studio player. I'm throwing these things out here not only as an example, but also to maybe spark something in you where you say, well, that is actually what I want to do. So maybe you want to be great at picking up the guitar around the campfire, and you want to be that guy or that girl who picks up the guitar and makes everybody sing. That's a really cool thing, right? So you want to be able to do that. Or maybe you say, I want to be in a great local band. I'm not going to be a big rock star. I don't want to do that, but I would love to play in a local band, play at a local bar, and make people sing and have a blast and show off my guitar skills and have fun, make people dance, right? So that's a great goal. Maybe it's you want to be a guitar teacher. Teaching guitar is super fun. Obviously, I think it's super fun. I've been doing it for a long time. So, maybe that's what you want to do, is you want to have the ability to teach other people, right? Or maybe it's that you want to be a great rock guitar player. So for your first step, okay, this is super easy. This is like asking you to go into a toy store and pick out your most favorite toy, all right? And sometimes you may not be able to do this right now in this setting, okay? It may be that you're doing this tonight or over the week or whatever, but bottom line, you need to, if you don't have that goal right now in mind, you need to think about that, you know? Hey, I love this instrument. I keep picking it up. Well, I don't know why. It just feels so good. It's so fun, but maybe there's something more there. Maybe I'm not just supposed to just noodle. Maybe there's something more here, okay? So you want to ask yourself that question. What is it that you want to do? If you could just, right now, just if I Eric Andreas, could hand this to you, your goal, anything what it would be on the guitar, what is that? Okay, you can tell me right now, or you can just keep it in your head or whatever. Tell a friend, but you want to write it down. Really, really important to write your goals down. The more you get yourself involved tangibly with your goals, writing them down, saying them out loud, telling them to a friend where now you're committed, do that because that's going to get you involved. Okay, so number one, we've got to have a very tangible, compelling goal. What do you want? That's the number one thing. What do you want? Okay. So now we have this goal, okay? And we're going to take questions after this, obviously. And we're about anything. Gear, doesn't matter. I've got my pedal cam up, all that good stuff. Okay, so we're going to take questions after this. Number one, you got to know what you want. Number two, you got to know what goals it is that are going to get you there, okay? So you have this ultimate goal of being blank. I saw somebody say, I really want to, you know, conquer finger picking by the end of the year. I want to master finger picking, okay? You can do this not only in a year, you could do it probably in a month if you follow my instructions on doing this, okay? But we need to have some goals. Now, for some of you, you may not know how or what goals you need to achieve that specific goal, okay? So first we've got the desire, then we've got these goals, but these goals are going to drive us to our ultimate desire, okay? You have to understand how this is structured first to do this, okay? So, for instance, let's talk about it. So finger picking, I saw somebody say finger picking, okay? Well, first off, you're going to need a guitar, okay? You got a guitar. You're going to need to know how to fret because you can't just finger pick and not have the fretting, chords, and those sorts of things down. So you need to have something that you're going to finger pick, maybe some chords. We'll keep it real simple at first, and we'll just concentrate on the finger picking hand, okay? So the next thing we would need to know is we would need to know the protocol or the strategy to finger picking, okay? Now you could just say, well, I'm not a finger picking guy. I just like to use my thumb. So I'm going to finger pick, but I'm just going to use my thumb. And guess what? You need a strategy, and you need a good strategy, okay? So just saying, hey, I'm going to just pick with my thumb is not a good strategy. You need to do what the pros are doing. When you see somebody who's doing something that you want to do and they're doing it well, follow those folks. Those are the folks that you want to follow because they're doing something right, okay? And if you get close to them, you follow them, that stuff is gonna pour onto you. So you got to come up with some sort of strategy. So for instance, like how I teach in all of my finger picking videos on YouTube, you can type in YourGuitarSage finger picking. You're going to see a bunch of videos. Better than that, if you're in the free course, that's YourGuitarSage.com/30. I teach you finger picking in that specific course. Okay, so from the ground up, along with a bunch of finger picking exercises, something very, very important is for you to have the instructions, to have that strategy. Okay, so let's say it's finger picking. Well, that's an easy one. There's some basics that you need to know, some strategy that you need to know. You need to have exercises, some songs, that sort of thing to get your finger picking down. Now, that's a smaller goal, and nothing wrong with that, but that's a smaller goal. But what I'm saying is, let's say you want to be really proficient at blues by the end of the year, okay? Let's take that one, that ultimate vision, if you will, to we need those goals to uplift that vision, because if you have a vision, that's great. And the more you think about that vision, the more you think about whatever it is that you want, the more your mind's going to be able to create pathways to get there. That's just science. It's been proven a billion times over. Trust me, okay? It's true. So you got to have your vision. If you don't have a vision, you're not going to know where you're going to go. Then you got your goals. So let's talk about it. Blues. Let's say you want to be proficient at blues. Okay, so like in the Unstoppable Guitar System, I talk about all the time, if you want to be a country player, you got this. If you want to be a blues player, you got this. If you want to be a studio player, you got this. Different things, different visions, so you got different goals to support that vision. Okay, so let's say blues, for example. Well, you'd probably want to be really good at the blues scale, right? How are you going to play the blues if you don't know some blues scales, at least if you're improvising, right? You need to know basic blues songs, basic blues chord progressions, basic blues turnarounds, call and response, improvisation, understanding the chordal structure of the 12-bar blues, those bits and pieces. I'm just throwing those out as examples because, you know, to say I want to be a great blues player and then be like, okay, it's not happening. I don't understand. Why isn't it happening? You've got to break it down. You got to say, okay, Eric, blues scales. I can do that. Easy enough. I give you the blues scales. It's in the free ebook. I probably have it in the free course, but it's definitely in the free ebook at YourGuitarSage.com. And then a million blues videos on YouTube. Just type in YourGuitarSage blues. And so you're going to understand, or you're going to learn those blues scales. That'd be goal one, right? And then you're going to learn some basic improvisation like I teach on YouTube, right? YourGuitarSage improvisation, or YourGuitarSage blues, or YourGuitarSage call and response, okay? Got lots of jam videos and those sorts of things. So you want to practice to that. You'll want to learn the 12-bar blues progression and understand how that's structured and be able to understand that by hearing it, okay? So you're going to hear where the chords move, when you might do a particular phrase, that sort of thing. So bottom line, we've got this vision, then we got these goals that support it. We were doing, let's say we want to be a great studio player. If you want to be a great studio player, you would need to be in tune all the time, be in impeccable tune, all right? There's no place for a non-tuned guitar or kind of in tune when you're in the studio, okay? You need to know how to improvise really well. You need to know how to take direction from producers and other players. You need to not let your ego be involved in the studio. You need to be able to read charts, read music, listen and be able to play something just when someone's saying, yeah, it goes like this. You need to be able to do those things. So there's a lot of bits and pieces to becoming a studio player as well. But whatever it is your goal, whatever it is that your goal is, your vision is, your goals will support that, okay? Now, you got to identify those. Sometimes you may not know those. I can help you out with that today during the question and answer part, okay? Now, the third thing you need to do is you need to set up a practice regimen. This is the action part, right? You need to set up a practice regimen so that every time you pick up that guitar, you're not just playing Iron Man because you know that song. So do I, so does everybody, right? You need to get out of that habit. First off, because just picking up the guitar and playing what you always know is not helping you get to your next place, okay? It's fun, but I guarantee you it's fun for a second, and then you're like, well, now what am I going to do on the guitar? You ever get like that? I do, and I have to, 99% of the time, it's doing something that I haven't done before. That's my answer. So do something you haven't done before. But in this case, you're going to do something that applies to your goals so that you can get to your vision. So, for instance, let's say you're a blues player and you're really good. You're starting to follow my instructions on the blues. You're in the Unstoppable Guitar System, or you're watching videos on YouTube, and you're like, okay, I've learned Form 1 of the blues scale, and Eric's teaching me this whole thing with the jam tracks and everything as far as call and response, and I'm getting that. Man, I'm getting really good. Awesome. And then you start getting bored, okay? Music is this constant, and art is this constant like balance of, you're like in between boredom and driving you mad, being frustrated, right? You want to find this place in the middle, because if you're bored, you're not going to be driven to pick up this instrument. And if you are overwhelmed, you're not going to pick it up either. So you want to have this place where you're constantly growing, okay? And when you're setting up a practice regimen that's supporting those goals, then you're doing that. So for instance, you're doing really well with improvising in form 1. You know, you're just jamming away. You're doing great on that. And then after a while, you start getting bored, because you've exhausted every lick that you think that you can do in there. There's techniques that I teach about that as well, because you don't know everything that's in that form. There's an infinite amount of things that you can do within that form. Be that said, let's say you're bored of that form and you're like, I need to grow as a blues player here. Where do I go? So then we go to another form, you know, and you're like, okay, well now I'm going to be in form 2. And you start messing around in form 2 now, and now it's challenging. It's challenging enough to where you're growing as a player, but you're not too frustrated because you got some bits and pieces from form 1 here. Like, these would be examples of what you would do, okay? So you gotta have your daily practice regimen support those goals so that you can ultimately get to your vision, okay? Now those are the 3 main steps, but there's a 4th step that I like to add to this, and it's to quantify or evaluate and quantify, or quantify and evaluate. And what we mean by this is, if you're bored and you're doing what I'm telling you here, then you're not doing it right. Okay, and you need to quantify that by, well, am I bored? Am I frustrated? Well, if I'm frustrated, I'm probably taking on too much, or I'm bored, I'm not doing enough. So what's the middle ground, okay? So evaluating and quantifying what it is that you're doing. Let's say you're really wanting to be a very fast player and you're working with the metronome. Okay, the metronome is great for quantifying and evaluating, because if you say, well, today I'm playing my 16th notes at 120 beats per minute, you write that down, and then the next day you go to practice and you're like, okay, well, yesterday I was at 120 BPM and I started nudging into 121 BPM. Great, that was awesome. And I started getting faster, but what's it like today? And then you go and you start at 121, or you start at 120 and try to get into 121. That sort of constant evaluation, constant quantifying where you're at is going to bump you up. If you're not keeping an eye on that, then you're just kind of haphazardly, doing things and not getting to your goals, okay? Now, obviously, this is for folks, there's a ton of folks that just want to play guitar and just have fun and pick it up, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. But chances are you've got some goals, or you have a vision in what you want to do as well, okay? So you can say, well, no, it's just a hobby. I don't want to be a pro. That's all right. That doesn't mean you don't have goals. Doesn't mean you don't have something that you want to do on the guitar. I guarantee you there's no one that's listening to my voice right now who says, yes, I am the best guitar player that I possibly can be, and that's why I'm watching your video, Eric. That's right. It's like you're watching this because you're wanting something, because you're wanting to get to the next level. So I don't care if you're playing guitar in an old folks' home, just kind of strumming away real quietly to soothe them, or what have you. You've got some goals, okay? So first off, we got to find. Let's reevaluate. Let's go over everything again. Number one, you got to have your vision. What is it that you want? It's the easiest question in the world. What do you want? We stop asking this question, I don't know, sometime later on in life. It's really important to ask it. What do you want? Nothing wrong with saying, what do you want? And answering that question. I want to be blank. I want to be this at guitar. Great. How do you get there? Let's talk about it. Break those things down. Sit down with some friends. Sit down with some other guitar players. Break those things down to figure out what pieces it takes to support that table, what legs it takes to support that table, your goals, okay? And then once you know what those goals are, you're going to write them down, and then you're going to say, okay, now that we've got those goals, how do we do this when we step up to the guitar every day, when we put that guitar on our knee? how's our practice regimen supporting those goals? Because it's great to have your vision, it's great to have your goals, but if you're not daily practicing what those bits and pieces to get to your goals, to get to your ultimate vision, then it's not going to happen. And it's very important, number 4, to evaluate, to quantify what it is that you're doing. Because sometimes if you don't check this, right, checks and balances, if you don't do that and say, okay, where am I? Is this even working? Then you may just be practicing every day thinking that you're getting to goal and you're not. Okay, enough preaching there. Let's get to some questions. And it looks like we've got a lot of them. Okay, so I'm going to be starting here on Facebook, and then I'll be heading over to YouTube. Okay, and my friends, please put a question mark at the end of your questions, like normal people do. Okay, because it's a question, and also I'm probably going to skip it if I don't see a question mark, because there's a lot of comments, and comments are comments, and those are great, but I'm getting to questions right now. Okay, cool. All right, John Thompson on Facebook is saying, hey Eric, with my very limited experience, I think I am leaning towards a rhythm guitar player. Do you have lessons on YouTube that will help? Yes, I've got lots of lessons on that. But John, the best place to start is the free 30 lessons that I give you guys. YourGuitarSage.com/30. You'll see the bit right there on the screen. Check that out. It's free. It's for you. I specifically created it for folks that are learning guitar and want to learn for free. Okay, and in one of those lessons, I specifically talk about strumming. I talk about all the different types of strumming, how to think about strumming, how to think about ghost notes, how to think about the down and the up, and down beats and up beats, and knowing when the down strum and the up strum should coincide with those, that sort of thing. Once you get those basics down, that's going to help a lot. Then you need to have a good chord vocabulary, and I teach that on YouTube. Just type in YourGuitarSage chords, and you can start. And I've got a plethora. Yes, I said plethora. I have a plethora of videos teaching that. Bar chords, all bits and pieces. Okay, so just type YourGuitarSage chords to build that chord vocabulary. And I have tricks for teaching you. Basically, there's a bazillion tricks in anything, right? If you learn from the masters, you will learn these tricks, and it'll make life so much easier than you sitting there poking away at every single YouTube video and never really getting where you want to get to. Okay, so there are tricks. I say YouTube videos. I teach these tricks in my YouTube videos, more so in my courses, but they're in my YouTube videos as well. So you want to build a good chord vocabulary as well, and yes, sir, I have lots of that. So, so check that out. Great question, John. Okay, yeah, Maurice, to buy a guitar and start is a great first goal. Everybody starts there, right? So I know some folks are laughing, but guess what? That's where you started too. It's where I started. I said, man, I think I want to play guitar. Why do I want to play guitar? I don't know. It attracts me. I love the sound of it. Jukebox Hero, Def Leppard, all these bands that I grew up with. I was like, you know, all these songs and bands. I was just like, I was mad. I had to learn, right? If I didn't learn, I would go crazy. So that was my vision. That's what drew me to play the instrument. And I started by having that desire and then buying a guitar. So everybody starts there. And then, my friend, you want to start YourGuitarSage.com/30. Why do you want to start there? Why do I keep saying that? Shut up, Eric. No, I'm telling you, there's a step-by-step process. You don't have to do it that way. You can just jump in and learn some crazy-ass tune right off the bat. I did that, and I don't suggest that, because if my drive was not where I was like, I'm going to do this, I love this, this is my life, you're probably going to quit. And it's not saying anything about you. It's just, there's a process. It's just like going to the gym. If someone says, yeah, let's work out, friends, and they put a 300-pound dumbbell on your chest and they say, press it, and you don't do it, what are you going to think? An expert's telling you this. You're going to be like, well, I suck at this, right? Well, guess what? Have you ever been playing guitar and you said, well, I suck at this, I'm not good, my fingers are too fat, or my fingers are too small, or I'm not good at this, or I'm not coordinated, or I have dyslexia, or I have this, that, or the other thing, right? You may have those things, that's fine. But that doesn't mean you can't play guitar, okay? In fact, I've got videos specifically about these things, about fat fingers and short fingers and all the rest. Trust me, there's enough people that have overcome these things with way worse fingers and hands than you. Okay, this hand's been bitten by 2 dogs, and it has 3 of the fingers have arthritis. This one has 2. Okay, so with that being said, there's obstacles that everyone overcomes. Don't let those get in your way. Otherwise, you'll never do anything in life. Okay, but start there, step by step. Well, let me get back to that. Why step by step? Because there is a specific path that if you follow on the guitar, you're not going to mess up. Hence the Unstoppable Guitar System. I didn't name it that just because it's a name. I named it that because if you follow the steps in order, you don't stop. You keep going. You keep getting better and better and better. The place to start, though, is that free series because that's how you do it, okay? Okay, do I do private lessons on Skype? I do, Don, but they're expensive, $100 an hour. Why? Because I can reach so many more people like this. I mean, I'm doing this for free for, who knows, today, maybe an hour, maybe an hour and a half. And I can reach so many more people, and it's the same information that I would give out. But I do teach privately, but it's $100 an hour. Okay. Goal is to play faster and develop rock soloing. Fantastic, okay. All right, looking for those question marks. Do you offer any free warm-ups online? Tom, yes, I do. In the free course, YourGuitarSage.com/30. Exercise 1, Exercise 2, Exercise 3. These are all exercises that would help a ton. You can also do some basic like stretching and that sort of thing. I always suggest that before starting to play. Some people don't do that. That's fine. For years I didn't do that, and sometimes I still don't do that. But doing some basic stretching like this, where you're stretching those tendons out, stretching those muscles out before you start playing, is a good thing to do. It's just like waking up in the morning and doing a little bit of yoga. Okay, Jonathan, thank you on Facebook for posting the free 30 lessons. Well, I'm going to bump over here to YouTube in just a moment, and we'll get to some questions there as well. Is it okay to leave the guitar out all the time? I typically keep it in the case, but yeah, that's totally fine as long as your atmosphere, your humidity, and what have you, temperature is good in your neck of the woods. Okay, if you're in a real dry climate like Arizona or something like that, then you might need some humidifiers. And obviously, you want to treat the guitar like you would a baby or a puppy or an animal or yourself. If it's uncomfortable for you, it's uncomfortable for your guitar. Okay? So if it's too hot, too cold, too dry, too wet, same thing. Now, there's some specifics about that, but we won't go into all that. But yeah, it's totally fine to keep it out. Okay, great questions today. When you transpose a song into an easier key, how do you know where to capo to get the original sound? Tom, watch my video on capos inside the free course because I cover all that. I have a matrix for you, a colorful matrix that will show you, okay, if I put the capo on this fret and I'm playing this chord, what's the key, that sort of thing. That's not an easy question to answer here. Lots of diagrams and that sort of thing, but I have that free in the free course, YourGuitarSage.com/30. Okay. Really some real sweet comments coming, real nice comments coming in here. Thank you so much. I can't get to them all, but I will get to the questions, okay? So Jonathan is saying, so is the course structured so one would learn to follow a progressive way to practice and improve? Yes, most assuredly. That's the only way to learn well. It's the only way to learn right, okay? Any tips on how to improve phrasing? I know my scales just stuck in a rut. Charlotte, on YouTube, search, if you're not in the Unstoppable Guitar System, then on YouTube, type in YourGuitarSage call and response, okay, or just call. Or type YourGuitarSage blues and learn about phrasing. I may have something on phrasing specifically. It's all on phrasing, but I may have used that in the title. I don't know. But you can type in YourGuitarSage phrasing, but YourGuitarSage blues is going to get you there, okay? it's really a great thing to learn how to phrase using blues, because it will help with everything. Okay, Juan, why didn't I win one of those beautiful acoustics? Oh, sad. Because we only gave 30 away, and a lot more people than 30 entered. Okay, question, is a humidifier good? Does it provide too much moisture for guitars? It depends. You need to have and I forgot the name of them, but it's a meter that tells you what the humidity is in the air, and there is a range that you can that you want it to stick in. Usually between like 45 and 65 is a good range. Some people will tell you differently, some lower or higher, but that's a good range, good basic range. Yeah, it can be too humid. I've done that with guitars. They get soggy, and they don't sound very good. They sound better when they're dry, but they also break when they're dry. Okay. Okay. Does your course teach how to read sheet music? It teaches basic music reading. Yes, it does teach basic musical notation, but that is not the goal of it. It's to basically teach you how to play guitar without having to read music. But yes, it does teach you how to read music. When one buys courses from your site, what will happen when you decide to close the site? I don't know. I've been doing this for 30-something years, so I haven't closed the site yet. It's an unlimited, it's a lifetime membership. And this is my livelihood. This is what I do for a living. I'm passionate about it. I friggin' love teaching guitar. And yes, of course I make money from it. If I didn't, then I would be waiting tables, and I wouldn't be sitting here free in front of you right now giving 30 guitars away last month. So I've got to be paid for something, obviously. But a hydrometer. Thank you, Gernot. Thank you so much. So with that being said, I'm not planning on closing the site. I wouldn't do that unless, I don't know why I would do that, ever, really. For some reason, if both my arms got chopped off or something like that, I would get other guitar teachers that I know and love to teach then for me, okay? But I'm not planning on closing at any time. Nick is saying, any advice for running out of ideas for soloing? I'm running out of ideas with a few minutes. Did you ever experience this, and do you still run into this problem? Yeah, sure, because you're always growing as a player, so you want to become a better player. So yeah, you're going to run out of ideas. Learn other people's solos. Learn how to improvise. Learn call and response. These are all things that I teach on YouTube. Learn other solos, learn other solos, learn other solos, learn other solos, okay? That's going to give you a vocabulary. Just like a child who is listening to their parents, they start repeating everything. Why? Because they have a dictionary and an encyclopedia in the house, right? No, because they're mimicking what their parents are doing. So if you're mimicking what Jimmy Page and Jimi Hendrix and Eddie Van Halen are doing, then that's going to start coming out of you. It just can't. It can't not do that, okay? If you're learning that stuff, it's going to start coming out in you. The more you learn, the more that stuff comes out of you. It's just inevitable. Okay. Okay, great questions, man. You guys are on it today. We got 48 folks over on Facebook. Okay, I've been playing acoustic guitar, but I'm starting to expand to electric. Any recommendations on a good starter amp or other accessories? I tell you what, go to my store. I've got a store that's up specifically for questions like this, Scott, where yes, I have all those recommendations. YourGuitarSage.com/gear, or on the screen there, kit.com/YourGuitarSage, and you'll find an electric section. Friends, if you have any questions about gear, about amps, about guitars, strings, accessories, picks, all those bits and pieces, this store is going to show you specifically what I endorse, and I don't endorse it because I get money from it. I endorse it because they are what I believe to be the right thing. Now I say I don't get money from it. I don't get money from the folks there. The kit store, yes, they kick back a very small portion to us when we sell something. But with that being said, that's not why it's up there. It's up there because I get this question all the time, and we said we need a store so folks can learn this stuff. Okay. Okay. I've reached a point. I feel I must improve my skill with rhythm. So, do you have advice on how to practice and progress with improving tempo and rhythm? Jonathan, yes. Number one, start with the strumming bit that's in the free course, YourGuitarSage.com/30. But also, work with a metronome, and learn other rhythm parts. Learn other songs, okay? Learn songs, songs, always. Alex, I bought the course at the full price and I think it's worth it. Thank you so much, Alex. I appreciate that. How do we apply scales once we've learned them? Phil, on YouTube, type in YourGuitarSage, call. That's it, call. And you'll see call and response videos where I'm talking about understanding how to do this. Also, you could type in YourGuitarSage improvisation. You're going to find that if you're not in the Unstoppable Guitar System, that's where you want to look. Okay, why do some players use a black cover for their hole for the acoustic guitars? What is the purpose? Jonathan, that blocks out, and I'm going over to YouTube now to answer some questions. That blocks out feedback. So typically, you know, when you're playing live, you have an acoustic pickup that takes the sound of that and amplifies it and makes it sound like an acoustic guitar but louder. And but a lot of times that sound coming back from the monitor hitting the guitar will create a feedback loop, you know, where it's like woo, right? Usually with the acoustic guitar it's much lower, but nonetheless what that does is it keeps that sound from going into the sound hole, reverberating, and creating that feedback, which we don't like, right? So, okay, great questions. Jumping over to YouTube, which is flying right now. So here we go. I'm going to get to some questions here. Boy, oh boy, it's going really fast. How many folks are on YouTube? My goodness. Okay. Okay. Rock on and vape on. Tony E6 stuff. All right. Where do you start with fingerpicking? Okay, I was able to pick one out here. Where do you start with fingerpicking? Start at the free course, my friends. www.yourguitarsage.com/30. I specifically created this course because I get so many questions all the time, and I hate leaving folks without some place to go where they can learn. Okay, I know not everybody's going to buy my courses, and that's totally fine. I want to help as many people as possible, though, and it makes me happy when folks can go to one place and they can learn all this stuff. So if you want to start fingerpicking or understand guitar with a great foundation, start at the free course, YourGuitarSage.com/30. Okay. Okay. Good. Now going through YouTube questions. The video you posted for finger dexterity was the greatest help for me for making correct chords. Why do you sometimes mute the G chord, the A string? Okay, so the question is, thank you so much for saying that. So Jerry C is saying that the finger dexterity exercises, by the way, on YouTube, just type in YourGuitarSage dexterity for those finger picking exercises, or better yet, the free course is going to get you there. Okay, and it's just a website there. You just get on there and you're done. Okay, so the question is, why when I play a G chord, sometimes I play this version. That's the sound I'm looking for. So why do I play a G chord like this? Some folks ask, where my first finger is up. And the reason being is threefold. Number one, I like the way it sounds better. And I like the way it feels better. And what's the third thing? I don't know. Just two things. Does there need to be three? I don't think so. It's just two things. It sounds better to me, and it feels better. Now, I say it sounds better. It sounds better a lot of times on the electric, especially when you have some rock, some rockin' tones happening here, you know? Now, if I include that note, it's going to sound a little bit muddier. Because I got this B note. Sorry, I was hearing a song there from Interpol. Okay. Sorry, I get off on tangents sometimes. Here's my G chord. And you can hear that note in there. Right? But if I lose that first finger there, it takes that B note out, and to me, it just sounds a little bit nicer, especially when you're talking about rock guitar, electric guitar, that sort of thing. So, and it's easier to play. So why not do it if it's easier and it sounds better? IMO, in my opinion. Would you recommend an acoustic guitar or a classic guitar for beginners? Farah is asking on YouTube. Well, this is the deal. With classical guitars, nylon string guitars, the strings are so soft that it rarely ever hurts your hand. So if you have access to a classical guitar, then I would say do that, because when you're pressing down, it's much softer and it just feels so much better. Okay, it will keep your fingers from shredding, you know, in the beginning, your calluses, but ultimately you need to build calluses. So yes, it's a nice kind of like stick your foot in the water and feel the temperature and that sort of thing type of vibe. With that being said, a steel string guitar, you're going to have to get used to it eventually, probably, unless you're just playing nylon string guitars. So eventually you're going to have to, but yes, it's a great starter. And when I say I would suggest a nylon string guitar, it's not by that much, and it's one man's opinion, okay? One person's opinion, that's all. But yes, it is a little bit nicer, okay? Enio is saying, what's the best way to improve accuracy? The best way to improve accuracy is repetition. I know that may sound logical, but it must be said. You got to repeat things over and over and over again. This works with anything. Anything, not just guitar, but repetition. What happens with repetition is you're building neural paths in your brain. You're saying this is the way you do things, and you're integrating that into your brain so much that it's actually creating neural paths. Okay, it's just like if you were to have a meadow and you walk one way in that meadow and then you walk back the same way and the same way and the same way and the same way. Eventually, you're going to beat a path across that grass and you're going to see that exact way to wherever it was that you're going and coming from. And the brain works in the exact same way. If you take one path and then you go another way and then you come over here and you do another way and then you come over here and you do another way, well then what happens is you're not building any neural paths, or you are, but they're so slight that they're not going to make that much of a difference to you. So you're not going to build that accuracy that you're looking for, okay? And someone said, one Zenith said, practice slower. Yes, speed comes with time. If you're trying to build speed, then you want to think about accuracy. If you're trying to build accuracy, you want to think about accuracy, okay? Accuracy, it's always accuracy. No one cares if you're playing fast and you're not playing accurate. People do care if you're playing accurate, though, and you're playing precisely. You know, you're playing with feel, those sorts of things. But speed without accuracy does nothing. No one cares. No one cares. Okay. All right, great questions. Shrai is saying, I want to buy a new guitar. Any tips? Yes, Shrai. Watch videos 1 and 2 of the free series at YourGuitarSage.com/30. You may say to yourself, why does he keep saying that? Because do you notice that all these questions fall into that course? Why is that? Because I've only taught for like 30-something years, and I get the same questions over and over again. And after a while, you see a pattern, and people are asking the same questions all the time, and they want these questions answered. They need these questions answered. So watch those videos, because that's going to tell you how to pick a guitar out if you know nothing about the guitar. And it's a really easy thing to learn, okay? You don't have to learn all about woods and all about electronics, this, that, and the other thing. There's some basics that one needs to know at first, and if you take care of those, you're going to be in good shape, okay? Okay. Great questions. So Mike is saying the third reason is so you can easily access the next chord. We were talking about the G to the G to the D. Yeah, kind of, Mike. I mean, realistically, if I was going from the G to the D, I'm going to have the same bit there. But yeah, it's one less finger to think about. So yes, you are correct, sir. Scott on YouTube is saying, Eric, my 7-year-old granddaughter wants to learn the guitar but gets bored easily. That's everyone, but 7-year-old granddaughters especially. Any suggestion on how to make it fun for a child as well as myself? Scott, yes. I always suggest for folks, especially the younger ones now, over the years I've always, you know, even my little ones, I would teach guitar. And that was it. They wanted to learn guitar, I taught them guitar. And then as the years went on, I started teaching them ukulele first. Why? Because if you type in YourGuitarSage ukulele, you'll understand how the ukulele relates to the guitar. And it's very much the same instrument in different ways, or it's very similar, okay? And the spacing is real similar on the strings. The chord formations are the same, not the same names, but the same formations. More about that in that video I'm telling you about, and it just makes it more fun. The thing that folks get bored, young ones get bored when they're not moving forward. We as adults, typically get bored when we're not moving forward. But the little ones, they get bored when. Sorry, how can I say this? We get bored when we're not moving forward. We're not being challenged enough. Little ones sometimes get bored when they're being challenged too much. So it's good to put a uke in their hands and teach them how to play the uke or something like that. Also, start with a song. Always start, just like you and I, start with a song that they are passionate about, something that they absolutely love. Because if you're teaching them Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, and they're not excited about that song, then they're probably not going to be excited about that song. They're not going to be excited about picking up the instrument. But if they love Taylor Swift, then teach them a Taylor Swift song. That's why I teach so much Taylor Swift and whoever. I teach all sorts of stuff on YouTube because these are songs that I've taught my students. And I said, well, why not have somebody else if they want to probably learn it too, right? So have them learn what it is that they want to learn. Dexter is saying, is using a pick really necessary? No, it's not. But you need to ask yourself, Dexter, which, by the way, I loved that show, Dexter's Laboratory, and I watched that a lot with my little girl back in the day. She's much older now. But here's the deal. Ask yourself, why do you not want to use a pick? And I know I'm speaking to a lot of folks here. Are you not wanting to use a pick because you've just developed this amazing style with your thumb or your first finger or whatever, and it's just absolutely blowing everybody in the guitar industry away? Or is it because you're being lazy or because you're not good at it? Guess what? No one's good at playing with a pick at first, right? No one is. You got to get used to it. You got to use that pick. You got to pick it up. You got to follow the pick rest exercise that will definitely give you control of your pick. Where can you find that one? It's in the free course, YourGuitarSage.com/30. Got to learn how to use your pick. You got to learn how to use a pick rest. Once you learn how to do that, then you're going to be better at this, okay? And here's another tip for using a pick. Carry the pick around with you everywhere. Keep it in your hands. If you're driving, well, I won't say that because someone's going to get in a wreck and they're going to blame it on me telling them about the pick. But nonetheless, use it everywhere. If you're at the shopping mart and you got your hand on the shopping cart, have that pick in your hand. You're on the phone, you got the pick in your hand. The pick's in your hand all the time. You're going to drop it. Why did I drop it? Well, because you're not accustomed to using the pick. Eventually, you're going to stop dropping it, and it's going to start becoming more natural in your hand. You're not playing guitar, but you're getting used to this pick. Carry it around with you everywhere, and you're going to start getting good at keeping that pick in your hand, especially in the beginning. Okay, later on, as a guitar, I don't carry the pick around with me everywhere, but you know what I'm saying? It's like in the beginning, it's very, very important. Okay, Bob is saying, Eric, do you believe in the 10,000 hour rule? Yeah, I believe that the more hours that you spend in something, I think that, yes, it's going to make you a very proficient player. And 10,000 hours is said to be the magic spot where if you book 10,000 hours on whatever it is that you're doing, and they're good 10,000 hours, not just, lame 10,000 hours, but legitimate 10,000 hours practicing, that you become a master at whatever it is that you're trying to do. And there's a book on this. I forgot what it is. I read it. The Tipping Point or something like that. Malcolm Gladwell is the author, I believe. But nonetheless, booking those 10,000 hours. Now, some of you're saying, "Oh my God, 10,000 hours? That's crazy." Well, it's not if you want to be good at something. If you want to be mediocre at something, then do less than that, okay? Nothing wrong with being mediocre. If you're okay with being mediocre, nothing wrong with that. Joe is saying, how can you tell if the action on the acoustic is too high? Because the action is too high if you feel it's too high. That's the thing. If it feels like you're pressing down the strings. Now, obviously, as a beginner, you're pressing down the strings hard, and I'm saying a player who's been playing for a bit, if one guitar is great and then the next guitar is not, chances are your action's too high. So that's how you can tell. It's really a preference. There's no specific height that says where it should be, but there's some obvious bits and pieces. If you're playing the strings and they're buzzing all over the place, then that's too low. And if they're so high that they're putting the guitar out of tune, or you're hurting your fingers, or that sort of thing, then obviously that's too high. Okay, great. Good questions. Thank you, Shelton. You say you've been teaching for 30 years. Did you start when you were 3? Actually, I've been teaching for 34 years now. I started when I was, or I should say I've been playing for 34 years. I've been teaching for about 32 years because I jumped into guitar head over heels. Every waking moment I was playing guitar when I just discovered it, was just playing nonstop. And what happens is I started teaching my friends in high school because they're like, dude, you got good really quickly. And I'm like, thank you. What do you want to know? Whatever. We'd learn songs together. I'd teach them songs or teach them scales or whatever, chords. And so that's what I mean by teaching. Now, shortly after that, I started teaching professionally, but that's where I get the whole 32 years of teaching. Yes. But no, I'm 48 actually. But thank you for the kind words. You made my day. Okay, I'm going to bounce back over to Facebook here and get to some questions. So you can let them rip there. Okay. Is it good to apply oil to your strings often, or it's a no-no? I've never heard of putting oil on your strings, Jonathan. I'd say no, because I've never heard of that. Now, you could, when the strings are off of the guitar, you could put like lemon oil or some sort of other, oil that's meant for, I've heard some people argue about lemon oil, but there's something called guitar honey that I use that will moisten the fretboard if it's exposed, if it's not shellacked, right? So that's good. And it can make the fretboard look nice as well, make the fretboard a little bit faster, what we call faster, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to play faster or more accurately. It just means your hands slide nicer on the fretboard. That's all that means. Are most songs always played in one key, or do players always mix keys to play? Jonathan is saying on Facebook. No, they're usually in one key. Every now and then you'll have a song that'll change keys, or if you're in jazz, then you sometimes have, sections that modulate, but for the most part, if you're talking about pop music, you stay in one key, or country music. There's definitely exceptions, but if you're asking about most of the time. Hey Eric, do you ever have a video on how to do thumb over chords like Hendrix and Clapton use? Yes, Nick, on YouTube, type in YourGuitarSage thumb, and I have lots of videos for this inside of the Unstoppable Guitar System, obviously, as well. All right, man, you guys are killing it today with the questions. Great ones. Nigel is saying, hey, Eric, how do I know what gauge strings are best for my guitar? Nigel, there's not necessarily a gauge of strings that's right for your guitar. Typically, it's what's right for you. So if you're on the acoustic guitar and you're trying to bend, typically folks don't bend strings on the acoustic guitar. It can be done, I do it, but I don't make a habit of it because the strings are thicker and it's just typically not the instrument to do that. It's kind of like taking a 4x4 on a racetrack, or taking a race car in the mud bogs, okay? You can do it, but you're probably going to bottom out. It's probably not going to be a very pleasant experience. So what I say is, thicker strings, 12s, 13s on an acoustic, and on the electrics, 8s, 9s, 10s. That's the high E string that we're identifying that by. And 8s, 9s, or 10s are typically good. Lately, I've been using 10s on all my instruments, on all my electrics, I should say. 10 through 42 or 10 through 46. And it just depends. I really am not a stickler for any of that stuff. I'm very guitar agnostic, string agnostic. I do like vibe strings on my acoustic guitars. I use those a lot. And I do use D'Addario or GHS boomers on my electrics, but still, if I had another set of strings here, I'd just use them, and I've not noticed much of a difference. That's just being honest. Okay, Jonathan saying, I wonder, do you advise it's good to follow them chord wheels for learning the chord progressions, or is it better to have a table of chord progressions as a guide? Jonathan, both are good, and you know, the guitar wheel that you're talking about there is basically, y'all, something that you can, it's like a little grid that you can buy, and it'll tell you what chords are in what specific family. Better yet, go to the free course, YourGuitarSage.com/30. I have a little matrix that you can learn, and it's in the, I believe it's in the bit about capos, and it'll teach you all the chords that are in a specific key. So if you're in the key of G, you'll know all the chords that you could use, or if you're in the key of C, you'll know all the chords that you can use. And it's good. Eventually you're going to, the more you learn about music, the more that stuff's going to be ingrained in you, and it's just going to become part of you. So typically those wheels, like, I don't use that because I know that stuff now, and I have methods for teaching that, methods for understanding that, to where I don't need that wheel. So yeah, they're okay, they're good for reference, but it's kind of like a dictionary, you know. It's like you don't carry a dictionary around everywhere. They're nice to have if you're looking up a specific word, but you know how to speak, if that makes sense. Okay, so learn how to speak guitar. Follow my theory videos, right? Your Guitar Sage theory. Just look that up on YouTube or wherever, actually. Okay, do I use a GP7, and did you find a way to enter notes except for a Jamstick in which you reviewed directly with the guitar? So Guitar Pro 7 is Carlos asking if I use that. I use Guitar Pro. I'm not sure what version of it is, and I do it manually. I also do it with the Jamstick. I also have another little MIDI guitar that I do it with. I try not to do it very often just because I dislike transcribing tab because it seems so slow for me. Okay, yeah, there you go. What would be a great starter for an electric guitar? Kathleen, go to kit.com/YourGuitarSage for my electric guitar suggestions. I have a few of them. Epiphone makes some great guitars. Fender makes some great guitars. A lot of folks do, but start there to know the specific models. Okay, great. Just getting to questions, but I'm seeing Daniel wrote a real nice comment there. And again, I'm just getting to questions right now, folks, because we're getting to the point now to where I can only address questions because we're getting a lot more folks into these live broadcasts, which is great and fun. I love it. What would be okay? I answered that one. Okay, moving up. Here we go. Is there a suggested number of hours to practice? Is increased frequency better than duration? That's a great question, Mason. I'll address both of those. So, is there a suggested number of hours to practice? Mason, no, there's not. What I always say is this. If you want to be absolutely mad guitar skills, mastery of guitar, then you're going to practice every waking hour that you possibly can while still paying your bills, attending to your pets and family members and those sorts of things, friends, right? You want to have your hands on the instrument as much as possible. If you're totally fine with mediocre playing, then don't practice a ton. You know, practice what you can. If it's a hobby, nothing wrong with this too, by the way. It may sound like I've got some tone in there, but I don't. If you're fine with being a mediocre player, then don't practice a lot. Then just practice when you can, you know what I mean? And if you are totally fine with sucking, and now that I am using some tone here, then don't pick the guitar up that often. Just pick it up, you know, randomly. Don't pick it up very often, okay? The more you put into the instrument, the more you're going to get out of it. So there's not, even though there's not a suggested amount of how much you should practice, the more you do it, the better you're going to be. Now, you said frequency versus duration. I haven't figured that one out yet, to be quite honest with you, and I don't get questions very often that I can't answer, but that's one that I haven't quite figured out yet. Is it duration or is it frequency? Okay, I kind of have that one hacked a little bit, and I call that woodshedding or dress rehearsal. Okay, and I believe I have a video for that. Okay, and it goes like this. Let's say you're getting ready for a gig, and you have I've been in many bands, and you know, the last band I was in, our set list was like 60 songs, so I had a lot of songs to learn. And at first, when they said, here's the set list, I had to woodshed these songs. What does that mean? That means I would go in and I would take a particular song and I would just go down the rabbit hole with that song. I would learn every single lick, specifically the way it was done in the original recording, because I like to play originals the original way. I don't like to improvise, or sometimes I've done that before, but I don't want it to be because I'm lazy ass and I'm not learning the original part. A lot of people be like, I like to play my own thing here. Do you? Do you, instead of Jimi Hendrix's part, are you that good of a player that you're just going to improvise over a Jimi Hendrix part? Sorry for the tone there. But what I'm saying here is make sure that if you are improvising, that you're playing something better than the original. Okay, better than Jimi Hendrix, better than Jimmy Page, better than Joe Satriani. Otherwise, play the damn original part, okay? Take the time and learn it and play it right, okay? So that's called woodshedding, and that's a duration thing, because I'm going down the rabbit hole. However long it takes me to learn that part, I learn that. If it takes 5 hours, 10 hours, 2 days, a week, whatever. But once that practicing is done, then I'm going to be doing more dress rehearsal, and that's going to be frequency, right? So every day I'm going to practice those songs like a set, you know, I practice them for 4 hours. And the next day I practice them for 4 hours. The next day I practice them for 4 hours. But that's the frequency they are coming in. So I use them at different times. So with that being said, I guess maybe the reason I haven't hacked that yet is because there's not really a hack for that. It's like you use one for the one and the other for the other. Okay, so you practice frequently things that you know already, and the things that you don't know already, you're going to go down that rabbit hole and you're going to really dig very deeply on it. Okay. Do you advise taking a course of music theory? Yeah, I think it's very important to learn music theory. On YouTube, just type in YourGuitarSage theory, or if you want the in-depth, mind-expanding, go for it, I'm going to be a great guitar player bit, then get in the Unstoppable Guitar System, where I teach everything step by step. If you want to learn thousands of chords, I can teach you that in a short amount of time. Otherwise, you're going to be getting a chord dictionary. You're going to be like, oh, I know this chord, and I know this chord. You know, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it's a very slow method. Okay? All right, great questions. Great questions. Jonathan's saying, with electric guitars, do amplifiers separate? With electric guitars, do amplifiers sell separate versus speakers? Is that why one sees two components? Jonathan's saying. I think he's saying basically, can you buy both? You can buy both separately, or you can buy them together. Just depends on what you want. This has a different speaker than what originally came in it, because it makes this particular amp sound better, and it's just kind of a hack that people have learned. Okay. Okay. Great questions. All right. I'm gonna bump over to. Hold on. I'm gonna answer. Nope. I'm gonna bump over to YouTube here. Okay. What can you do when you are stuck in a chord you can't do? Miguel, you can do the chord, you just can't do it right now. So what do? You keep practicing that chord. And specifically, if you're following the way that I teach this in the free course, YourGuitarSage.com/30, if you do this, okay, when you're playing the chord, there's a reason why that chord's not sounding, right? If you're like, well, I'm playing the chord, I got it, it's right there, just like Eric's teaching me. Is it the way I'm teaching you? Or are you missing something? If you're not playing the chord right, it's not the way I'm teaching you, okay? So if I'm playing that chord, it sounds pretty good, but now if I go through it and I pick each individual note, I can hear there's a couple notes at least that aren't playing. So I have to ask myself, why? Okay, great question. Now I have to answer that question. Well, why? Well, I'm going to use my eyes, I'm going to use my ears to find out. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to look and I'm going to say, well, why isn't that note playing? Oh, I can see, I can feel it right there. Use your eyes, use your ears, use your feeling, right? Use your senses to determine. I can feel that note. Well, number one, I can hear it's being muted, and two, I can see that it's being muted, and I can feel it being muted by that finger there. So I'm going to lift that finger up a little bit, and now I can play the chord better, right? That is using the techniques that I teach, the fretting technique. So the reason, Miguel, that you're probably having a problem with the chords is you haven't taken the free course that I'm giving you, that I'm handing to you. And my friends, 30 lessons. These are 30 lessons from me. If you were to come see me, it's going to cost you hundreds of dollars to do this, and I'm teaching you the same exact stuff in the same exact way that I'd be teaching you right here in the same exact studio. Same guitar person, same head, same guitars, everything. You're saving a ton of money by taking that free course, and it's there for you to use or not use, okay? But use it. Get better, okay? Okay, great questions. All right, do you ever consider having UGS get-together somewhere, like a weekend thing? Joe is saying, yes, I'm actually considering that, and this would be the year to do it, because I said new things in 2018, so this would be the year to do it. I really do want to have a seminar where I'm going to a different city and everybody's gathering with their guitars. Maybe I have a guest there, maybe I have a few guests, we have a jam, we're teaching things, we're learning things, we're having a blast. So yes, I'm very seriously considering that. Does your course teach intervallic approach to playing? Yes, it does. I teach all about intervals and how they relate to chords, how they relate from one note to another, the whole 9 yards. Yes, sir. Eric, what do you choose? Expensive guitar, cheap amp, or expensive amp, cheap guitar? Great question. So I think that don't worry about cheap or expensive on either. I suppose if you were going to do that, and it just depends. This is not an exact science. So, but if I was to choose, I think I would get a more expensive guitar and a cheaper amp just because you're playing the guitar, right? Now, with that being said, if you took a cheap guitar and put it into an expensive amp, your sound is probably going to be better than taking a expensive guitar into a cheap amp. Okay, that could be argued, but again, these are variables that it's not a strict science here. We're talking about basics. But if you take a great amp and you plug a cheap guitar into it, it's still going to be loud, it's still going to be full sounding for the most part. But if you take a very expensive guitar and put it into a cheap ass amp, if it's thin speaker and the distortion's bad, overdrive's bad, and it's only going to sound so good. It's going to sound as good as the amp. So with that being said, you don't have to spend a lot of money. Check out the affordable guitars that I have on kit.com/YourGuitarSage. Check that out, because that is going to get you where you need to go, and they're affordable. Okay. How to master songs faster? Julia is saying. Well, Julia, focusing on what I call, the inventory breakdown method, IBM method. I teach that on YouTube. You can type in YourGuitarSage IBM. I love you too, Yosef. Thank you, buddy. You could do that. But bottom line, if you don't watch that video, it's about focus. So taking a small section of a song. So you have this whole song, right? And you say, okay, well, there's the end, there's the bridge, there's this chorus part, there's the verse, there's the intro. Okay, we've got all these different pieces. Break them down into all those separate pieces. Learn the intro first. What about the intro? Okay, well, there's 10 chords in it. Nah, probably not 10 chords. There's 4 chords in it. Okay, let's learn those chords. Well, we know them already. Okay, great. On to the next section. Maybe we don't know them already. Okay, we're going to need to learn those individual chords, but we're focusing on one section of the song. Why are we doing that? Because once you tackle that one section of the song, you've got a bit of accomplishment that's going to fuel you for the next part. If you're just like looking at this whole song, how am I going to learn this whole song? I don't do that. I would be overwhelmed, okay? I'd be like, dear God. I do that still sometimes, and I go, dude, you don't have to learn the whole song. You just have to learn this part. And then, after you're done with that part, let's learn the next part. Okay, learn the next part, learn the next part. And eventually you glue them all together. That's how you want to learn, and that's going to be how you learn very quickly, because if you're trying to learn this whole thing, it's going to be overwhelming. You're going to put it down, you're going to be distracted, you get a text, you're looking at it, this, that, and the other thing, anything to learn the daggone song. But if you do it the way I'm telling you about, you're always going to be focused, you're always going to have the next little bit to do, and you're going to get better, okay? Mike is saying, thanks for the ebook, it is great. Folks, thank you so much, Mike, for saying that. What Mike is talking about right now, there's a free ebook that I have at YourGuitarSage.com/30. If you go to that page, somewhere in the right-hand corner, you're going to see it. It's great. It's got pentatonic scales in it, blues scales. It's got bits about chords, dexterity exercises, all sorts of bits and pieces to get you going with the guitar, okay? And I guarantee you, I don't care if you've been playing for 40 years, which is longer than I've been playing, you're gonna learn something from this ebook, okay? Don't poo-poo it. I'm telling you, I don't write stuff down that isn't gonna help you. I don't have the time for that. So yes, get that. It's free ebook, so you can get it, and if you don't like it, I'll give you 1,000 times your money back. Pretty good deal, huh? Yeah, it is. All right, so check that out. Cheap guitars nowadays are quite good anyway, aren't they? Yeah, they are. They make guitars for so cheap now, it's crazy, and a lot of them are pretty good, okay? A lot of them are really good. Okay, man, awesome questions. I'm gonna bump back over to Facebook here, and we're gonna call it here in about 5 minutes, okay? Oh, by the way, folks, here we go. I didn't mention this. I need to share this video right now, friends, because guess what? After this broadcast, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to award 4 winners. 5 winners. Let's do 5 winners. 4 winners are going to win my ebook bundle. What is the ebook bundle, Eric? I'm going to tell you about it. I'm glad you asked. If you go to YourGuitarSage.com, there's a little a button there that says ebooks. If you click on that, I've got 3 ebooks. This was me in the beginning. I just wrote books, and I say books. They're small, okay? I don't love reading. I love getting information, but I'm a slow reader. So I packed as much as I possibly could in these books, 3 subjects. I'll tell you about them in just a second. And in those 3 ebooks, there's just so much to learn. But ebook 1 is basically what I said was, if I could hand this to every single guitar player in the world and cut out all the stuff they really don't need to know right now, but this is the most valuable stuff that they're going to ever learn on the guitar. Forget about all the other stuff that, yeah, it's good stuff, but you don't need to know it right now. That is ebook 1, okay? Ebook 2, and this is it's called the Ultimate Guitar Guide, by the way, but I call them ebook 1, ebook 2. Ebook 2 is basically what you didn't learn in ebook 1. I would love you to learn this stuff, but it's still not that other stuff that you just aren't going to learn, but this is going to bring you up to the next level. That's what ebook 2 is. And ebook 3 is kind of the part 3 of that, if you will, of the trilogy. And but it emphasizes blues, but there's also some other advanced stuff in there. But it's basically the blues. It's delving into blues. With all that being said, for 4 winners today, I'm going to give that ebook bundle away. Okay, I believe we sell those ebooks for $10 a piece, and then we have a bundle. But so I think it's a $23 value for each one of those. And the 4th winner is going to win my. This is the Nashville Number System DVD that I created for True Fire Guitar. Great folks. And this right here is the Nashville Number System Decoded. You may not even know what the Nashville Number System is, my friends. This will absolutely revolutionize the way you think about music. I have videos for this on YouTube as well. You could type in YourGuitarSage number, okay, and you'll know the basics of it. But this goes over it in detail. Massive, amazing course right here, okay, if I don't mind saying so myself. Okay, so someone is going to win that beautiful bit there, and the ebook bundle. Okay, so 5 winners today. One person's going to walk away with that, and the other folks are going to walk away with the ebook bundle. So what's that? That's like it's a lot. It's over $100 worth of good stuff for you, okay? So, but we're gonna, and those are for folks that have shared this video, okay? For folks that have shared this video. We're gonna be looking at those folks afterwards, and then we're going to get in touch with you should you win. Okay, great. All right, I'm gonna take 2 more questions. So I haven't eaten yet today, and I'm really, really hungry, and I'm getting hangry. So I'm gonna take 2 more questions, and this will be from Facebook, okay? So here we go. Matt says he loves his Epiphone PR150. He won that. Last month we did a giveaway. We gave 30 guitars away to 30 winners over 30 days. It was absolutely super fun, and we're going to do more stuff like that, a lot more stuff like that this year. Matt was one of the winners, so thank you so much. Dan, thanks for sharing, buddy. Do you find that there are, Gary's saying, do you find that there are days when you feel creative and want to explore your guitar, and then there are days when you just want to practice what you know and what you're working on in daily sessions? 100%. It's just emotions. That's all it is, and it's great. Sometimes you feel like you just want to get something out. Sometimes, especially late at night, I'll come down here, everybody's asleep, I'll turn the lights off, turn the amp on, turn it quiet, and I'll sit here and just improvise. I'll close my eyes and just improvise over a jam track, or typically my looper pedal, because I like to be uninterrupted. I don't like after 3 or 4 minutes to be interrupted, so I like to keep that looper going. And I may be 20 minutes into it, 30 minutes into it, and I start feeling it then, really, really digging in. Or I'll sit down and write a song. Or I'll just practice songs that I know. Okay? Okay, good stuff. One more question, my friends, and then we shall call it a day. Remember to share. If you haven't shared already, please do that now. Okay. I totally agree with your philosophy on doing it better than the artist. The Chinese visas are testament to what you say. Yes, you gotta do, I'll have to check that out. The Chinese visas. I don't know what that means, but I'll have to, music visas. I don't know what that is. I'll have to check that out. Okay, I'm going to take one more question. Is it important to have sound pads in your room when you practice in your room? Sound pads? No. Like things that might dampen sound? No, not necessarily. Okay, my friends, listen, I wish I could have gotten to everybody's questions today. I love doing these. I love you guys. I'm honored that as many people watch these videos, these live broadcasts, and I'm so appreciative to you, because without you, I'd be some guy sitting with a camera broadcasting to no one, and that's boring, all right? I've done it before. It's boring, okay? No, seriously, thank you so much. Great questions today. Love you guys. Friends, take advantage of this free course. I'm telling you, right now, open up another tab, type in YourGuitarSage.com/30, or click on any one of the links that someone has put up there where it's YourGuitarSage.com/30. Go through this course. It's easy, it's fast, it's succinct, it's step-by-step. You can't screw up. If you're having issues with guitar, it's probably because you're biting off more than you can chew at the moment. Okay? You're absolutely unstoppable, absolutely unlimited as a being, as a guitar player, but you got to know where you're at in that continuum. Are you a beginner? Are you intermediate? Are you advanced intermediate? You know, are you advanced? Are you a master? Okay? And guess what? The master is not truly the master. He can always go, she can always go further. And guess what? Everybody starts at the beginning. Everybody sucked at the beginning. It's not just you. I did. Jimi Hendrix did. Jimmy Page did. Everybody starts at the beginning and they suck. They can't hold the pick. They're dropping the pick. They can't play the chords. They think they have fat fingers. They know they have fat fingers. They know they have short fingers. I can't play the guitar. Everybody goes through this, okay? You're individual, but you're not individual in that thought, okay? These are not your same thoughts. This has been universal since the guitar's been invented, since anything's been invented. It takes time to get good at stuff, okay? You can do it. You literally can be anything that you want to be at this instrument or anything in life. I don't just say that flippantly. I say that because I know it, okay? So the goals for 2018, you know what they are. If you don't, you need to write them down. What it is that you want to be on the guitar. Put those goals down, make them your daily practice, and make sure you reevaluate them every now and then to get you to those massive goals, okay? to get you to your ultimate destiny of what it is that you envision yourself doing on the instrument, okay? Easy enough. I'm here for you. Please let me know how I can help. I've got 1,000-something videos on YouTube. I've got the free course, YourGuitarSage.com/30. I've got the gear store, kit.com/YourGuitarSage or YourGuitarSage.com/gear. Go there and buy away, my friends. There's all sorts of really great stuff there. Or just learn stuff and go buy it somewhere else. I don't care. I'm here to help you. Please let me know how I can help you. Leave those comments on the videos. The Unstoppable Guitar System, if you ever want to get in there, that's where you're going to massively learn how to play guitar in a step-by-step method that is absolutely going to change the way that you play. All right, my friends, I'm here for you. Please let me know how else I can help. Love you. Thank you so much. I'm out of here.